Well, welcome back. A special good morning to all the viewers across the length and breadth of this country. My name is Kwame Owusu. So welcome to the newspaper review segment on the morning show. It's been an exciting week. It has indeed been an exciting week. A number of things have happened. The vetting is still ongoing. The court proceedings is still ongoing. And several other issues which are of monumental significance in this political dispensation have happened. And it is precisely the case, which is why this morning we are here to perhaps look at the week in review. It appears that all the stories that have been captured by the various newspapers are looking at dealing with all the substantive issues which have happened within the week. And we are definitely going to be staying on those substantive issues. Now, it's never a morning show on Pan-African television if we don't touch on an African story. And this morning we're going all the way to Rwanda. Hotel Rwanda hero Paul Rusesabagina goes on trial in Kigali. That story has been captured by a Daily Graphic newspaper. Ministerial vetting, we have enhanced media freedom. Information Minister Kojo Oponkroma. But one other thing, and I'm still waiting for the documents. I've not been able to take receipt of the document, but I'm waiting for the document about a certain microfinance, which microfinance was involved in securing a loan from Unibank, which it has defaulted in paying or in payment. It is very, very crucial because we chastised, the management of Unibank, for instance, and the people who managed the affairs of the bank. We criticized them for mismanaging the banks, for which reason the banks were closed down. But if it turns out that there are people who are shareholders of some financial institutions which went for loans from those banks, then we must necessarily ensure that we address this particular issue. It's very, very crucial. So we will touch on that. And I'm sure yesterday you also watched the vetting of Honorable Hawa Kumsin, Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumsin. Yes, in part he has apologized over Kaswa shooting, but what has been predominant on social media and almost all other platforms has got to do with the substance of her vetting and the office that she's going to occupy. The question has become, does she understand that office and its operations? It is one that is a matter that requires us to probe into and find out whether she's cut out for the job. I am of the belief that on the basis of the answers that she gave, personally, I am of the opinion that she's not really cut out for the job. But we will get into that. Kick out minister, group petitions parliament over alleged activities of my very good friend, Honorable Kwame Mensah, the Western Regional Minister. And he'll be my friend, but we will talk this matter. Supreme Court dismisses John Mahamed's review motion. Supreme Court dismisses John Mahamed's review motion. This has been captured by the Ghanaian Observer newspaper. And, well, Honorable wants us to touch on a number of other issues. We would find a space in there and touch on it. He's displeased. Well, yes. I can appreciate that it goes without saying that we should touch on that, but we will definitely give it prominence on the show. Good morning to you, Honorable Ebi Fuseni. I must admit that I love what you are wearing.
Thank you.
I must admit that I love your hat. I must admit that I love your African wear.
Oui.
And I must admit that your color is really, really glowing. I don't know what cream you have started using, because this morning you are looking beautiful. You're not looking handsome.
My wife is jealous of your comments.
Oh, your wife, very much is my mother. But good morning to you.
Thank you so
and
much.
I trust you are doing well.
Thank you so much.
You know, Bernard Mona made some derogatory remarks.
Oh, about
before,
me?
yes, about you.
Brother, you will not
before
say.
you, oh, I'm telling you, he said, Kwame, why do you put me in the middle of two short men? you know.
No, it's not derogatory. It's just describing
the situation there.
A short man is not derogatory.
Oh, you know, under the circumstance, and within the context.
No, it's all right. Why? If you are short.
So you agree? You admit that?
Is it derogatory?
You admit that Nana Akufo-Addo is taller than you?
Oh, Charlie. so this debate has gone on. You know that.
For which reason you nearly lost your seat? A huge investment was made in your constituency to make sure that you lose your seat for describing the president as
but you know that you can sweep dust under the carpet, but not boulders. So it's another. I told you long before here that whatever is done by the distance, they can deploy the whole of MPP infrastructure in Sanaru. They will never get the seat.
Right.
So they are as far from the seat as a dry fish is from the river.
Bernard Ambataila Mona, our very own political activist, is here seated. Good morning to you, sir. I love your 2 stars. Are you now a 2-star general?
Good morning, Kwame.
Yes, my boss.
How are you?
I'm the How's the farm?
We are doing well. We are doing well. It's
what are you growing now? Are you into fish farming?
Fish farming is where fishes are reared in a reservoir. But what is a reservoir? They didn't ask. No, I have a small fish pond in my house, but not.
So that's different from fish farming.
That's rearing fish.
Yes, I do.
You rear fish like animals.
I rear fish.
But to be honest,
those who know me, by protocol should know this. I rear fish. When he used,
but do we rear fish?
We do. We raise them.
Rear animals, but the English language these days.
We do what?
No, we raise them. We raise fish.
Yeah, but not rear.
Yeah, we raise fish.
But you don't rear fish.
Rear animals.
Yeah, we
but
raise
not
fish.
But do you rear fish?
Well, that's
You're not answering my question.
that is semantics.
Semantics.
Yes.
What is semantics about?
But that's the English they have been using.
I'm saying that
if you did agriculture,
except you want to say that fish is not an animal.
What is fish?
If fish is an animal and we do rare animals, then fish will qualify to be rare.
Is fish an animal?
No, it is a plant.
Because it's the same thing. Otherwise, unless you say mosquito is an animal.
I'm surprised though.
We breed mosquitoes.
But why don't you rear mosquitoes?
I'm saying that semantics.
We could simply say bees
It's a wrong
bite.
terminology.
We can say we could say bees bite, right? In this very context, instead of sting, we could say the bees bite.
When you say bite, you bite with the teeth. The bee has no teeth.
So absolutely,
So you cannot bite.
So how can you rear fish?
It uses a stink.
So how can you rear fish?
Exactly.
That's the question.
But that's the English that was spoken.
If you are translating from Dagbanli or you are speaking from Wali or Dagari, you say that Donga Doman.
You see?
And Donga Doman means that mosquito has bitten me.
Yes. But you see,
I hope you understand. So from where we come from, if you use it, it's acceptable. It is those of you who have decided that is English language should become your...
You see, you either speak your local language or you speak English.
Did you permit her to speak Gonja in
You see, Bernard, you remember there was this Miss Ghana pageant some years ago, Kwame. And I think she was from somewhere. And they asked her, what is her best dish? And she wanted to translate it in Twi, to English. Emuni akuko. They say rice and hen.
Yes.
And he said it in English that the best meal is rice and hen.
And you understood.
What a beautiful.
Right.
You understood what she wanted to say.
So the translation, if you do it directly, you have a problem.
Anyway, a special good morning to you as well.
Kwame.
Yes, my boss.
But what is wrong with sitting or saying that you are putting me between two short men?
Oh, I think it's a settled matter now.
No, it's not. Protocol is very short.
You added very.
To
protocol is short, not very short.
It's short. Alaji, when you are also taller than somebody, the person can.
When you are also, I think that.
Because I'm told that you and President's height is
1 inch difference.
The president is taller than you.
1 inch.
You're taller. Now Honorable has become different.
So me and you, we don't have presidential height.
No.
So that's why I'm saying that it cannot be derogatory.
I love your morning show. I love the morning. Protocol, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kwame.
Aren't you happy this morning?
I'm excited.
Seeing that we're all having fun on the show.
Exactly.
And trying to define fish farming. Trying to define what we're... But I said the only thing that was taken away from the whole process was the definition of reservoirs.
And rearing fish.
Yeah, I think that...
oh, gracious God.
These are, but I mean...
But when I did... Okay, no, say...
I think that the definition of... what is it called? Fish farming.
So we have not started a conversation here too.
Issues. I mean,
these are just tangential. Have you seen Paul Adomoche's video?
Paul is a crazy man.
Oh, sorry.
Is it the way? Is it the one on the graduates, university graduates?
Yeah, the one he was laughing at. I was with that was sarcasm.
Yeah, he said that
and graduates who write, and I share a certain portion. And those, Kwame, I've never sent you a message in shorthand, have I? Alaji, have I? I've never. Any one of you that I've sent a message to. No, I try to spell my words in full.
But I don't
because you see, the tendency that when you are writing officially, you may forget that you are writing a formal and start using those abbreviations. It's high. And therefore, I encourage everybody to stop using those things. But when a minister has, or a minister designate has gone to perform so shabbily, you don't come to use that to be attacking other people for teasing.
That was my confusion.
Because, look, the minister simply did not perform.
And he's attacking who?
And he's attacking those other people who are sending messages with shorthand, I know, right, and those things. And that, look, you can't go there, you went to the university and wasted your years. And that you are laughing at Howard Kumsin. That was great sarcasm. I thought that he wanted to get at Howard Kumsin and wanted to find a subtle way to say that, look, Howard, you were a disappointment at the vetting.
Is that the case?
Yeah. That is how I can describe it.
You are very certain that is the case?
I'm certain about it. I know Paul a little. To be able to describe him. And anyway, if you call Paul now, Paul will tell you that Bernard and I, we have gone through so many things.
I see. Things that you cannot say on air.
Some I can say on air.
Some you can't.
Some I can't.
Admittedly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these are the topics. Now, I think it's important to kickstart the conversation with the African story. Bernard, Hotel Rwanda hero Paul Rusesabagina goes on trial in Kigali. I've been following this story for a while now. I think it's a very interesting development in Rwanda. Please.
Hotel Rwanda happened in 1994, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
It shook the entire world. And Africa was devastated. Because little did we know that the pronouncements of a radio presenter could lead to such massive murder and killing of people that could be described as genocide in our part of the world. We had always taken words so lightly. But on this particular occasion, the words were not taken lightly. The Hutus and the Tutsis decided to take those pronouncements. Because when you call your fellows cockroaches and describe them in uncertain terms, they decided to act. And the violence was heavy, so much that several millions of people died. Obviously, Rwanda is not a big country. But if you know that because of the wealth in that zone, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, all that way, they are interlinked. So it's like they can find themselves almost as one country. So a lot of mayhem occasioned. What I do like about the people of Rwanda is that after such massive killings, they themselves have constituted what they call the National Museum, where the skulls of people have been put, and that each person in Rwanda will have to go and visit that museum to see what we have done to ourselves. so that we can say never again in the history of our country should we subject ourselves into such carnage. And so I would have thought that the people of Rwanda by now would have decided that they will be able to overcome the difficulties that confront us. Unfortunately, the people refuse to do so. If the Rwandan government is not tolerant to critics, is not thinking about those who can criticize, and criticism in every setting, Kwame, criticism in every setting brings out the best in you. To the extent that Paul is seen as one of the most ardent critics of what's his name? The president of Rwanda. Then all of a sudden, he was outside of the country under some mysterious circumstances. He found himself in the capital, Kigali. The family, the lawyers, and other sympathizers think that this man was adopted from his foreign base and brought to the capital because he was seen as an open critic of Kagame. That alone will tell you that it is not safe to want to do work in Rwanda. The other thing that I have criticized most often is that Rwanda has come of age. It has now become the shining example of an African country that can reach the skies. Everybody is using Rwanda's development as the benchmark that African countries can. And Kwame, you have visited, you have stayed in Rwanda, and you know that it is one of the beautiful places to live in the continent. And so one is expecting that freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom to participate in every other activity in life will be guaranteed. It appears that it is not being guaranteed. I would think it in two ways. One, that Kagame is scared of his own shadows. Because France, and you know that they have now decriminalized or and disentangled themselves from French as the, yeah, from French as their
Commonwealth.
Yeah. Now they are now with the Commonwealth. They are now speaking English and what have you. Don't forget that French used to be their official language. They have now changed, and then they are using English as their formal language. Because France had indicated that at any point in time that Kagame steps down from power, they will haul him for the atrocities and the carnage that occurred in 1994. And because of that, they had to sever relationship with France, so that, and even change their language from French domination to the English language. All these things will constitute the basis for which critics of Kagame will now be hauled before Rwandan courts, so that they will be tried. Because the more you criticize him, you are exposing him to the International Criminal Court. And that any day he steps out of office, they can haul him for trials that he doesn't want to. And I think that the international community must also watch the kind of actions or the kind of future thoughts that we have on some of these leaders. When you do this, they will certainly not grant the democratic order that we want. I hope and pray that despite the fears that his lawyers are having that he was adopted into the country, his families are having that he was adopted into the country under some mysterious circumstances, that the Rwandan courts will grant him fair judgment, and that they will look at the issue dispassionately and see whether opposing views and criticism, because charging somebody for terrorism sometimes is a difficult one, because across the world, those that are described as terrorists, largely in most instances, are freedom fighters. The Taliban is a political group, as you know. They are described as terrorists. If you go to Lebanon, and you have Hamas and others in Palestine, Hamas and others are political party groups. They are described as terrorists because they hold certain views that are not in consonance with what the Western world wants to hold, and therefore they are described as terrorists. If you take President Mandela of South Africa, he was on the list of terrorists in on the United States of America. suddenly, when he eventually succeeded to become the first the black president of South Africa, then he was given, he had to go through the United States. They had to, take away the terrorism tag from him and then now turn him as a human rights liberator and whatever. So who is a terrorist is something that is not fully comprehensible to some of us. It depends on who is defining it, and I hope that the courts in Rwanda will take into cognizance that this young man played a critical role in marketing the story of Rwanda when Hollywood decided to take up the story Hotel Rwanda. But Kwame, if you want to understand the story of what happened in Uganda, don't look at Hotel Rwanda. That one I can call is the watered down aspect. You should look for the movie called Shooting Dogs. If you finish watching Shooting Dogs, you will ask yourself whether war of any form is good or not. But most of us have refused to watch or to read, and therefore we don't understand the history of our own continent. I think that Rwanda has come far, and one would have thought that some of these things and individuals, no matter their level of crimes, we should find a way to pardon them and to allow the national healing to continue to take shape.
It is very instructive, and you made a very significant point in your submission about people who criticize Paul Kagame.
Yeah.
Now, it is precisely the case, which is why people have alluded to the position that his abduction and subsequent trial is on the back of his consistent criticism of Paul Kagame and his activities, and to a very large extent, his involvement in the murder of Habyarimana, for instance, for which reason he now became, the leader of the movement, and that brought him into power, etc., etc. People have, including many, people have said that he was the person who engineered the conflict, if you will, between the Hutus and then the Tutsis, and that he cannot now extricate himself from that which he himself created. Now, that is on one side. The second side is that this person, Paul, in the estimation of the authorities in Rwanda, is funding the National Liberation Front, which was banned from operations in Rwanda. And that whilst in exile, he headed the opposition Rwanda movement for democratic change, right? He has admitted in court that yes, he's a founding member of that, but they were never involved in any violence. Now, let me bring you up to speed, and I'm sure you know already, but let me just remind you of the kind of court system that operates in Rwanda. So, at the time when all of these things died down, and they wanted to try people who were directly involved in the murder of, over 1 million people, right? They created a court called Gachacha. And that Gachacha court was specific. Its mandate was to try people who were involved in that particular, massacre that led to the death of 1 million Rwandans, right? Mm-hmm. So the question then becomes whether Paul will get a fair trial in Rwanda. Which is why the argument has been that he's not from Rwanda. He's of a Belgian, nationality, and therefore he should be tried in Belgium and not in Rwanda. So my point here is that because he's been consistently criticizing Paul Kagame, are we sure that the court will be fair to deliver justice in a manner that will reflect the evidence, that will be adduced by his lawyers to support his claim or his arguments?
Aside Malawi and probably a little bit of Kenya, African judiciary has tended to pander to the dictates of the governing political party or the governing or the ruling class. And to that extent, it is difficult for one to see that there is any opportunity for a fair trial to occasion in this particular instance. But for the fact that he is an open critic of Kagame, I'm not sure that anyone would have been interested in what he has done. Indeed, those who have watched Hotel Rwanda and what have you will continue to praise him for bringing the issues of Rwanda to the international scale for the world to know that these things happened. And I'm sure that many countries have taken lessons from what has pertained in Rwanda, and that citizens across the globe have decided that, look, for what we have witnessed in Rwanda, we don't want to witness same in our countries. And that is why sometimes you see that government officials misbehave to a certain level that could actually cause uprising. But people are cautious, or even where the uprisings take place, Alaji, they are contained at a certain point because people do not want the violence to escalate to the extent that we can have murder in the form that it has done. So I cannot guarantee that there will be fair trial in Rwanda. But I also do not see that a trial in Belgium will grant the Rwandan government or the people of Rwanda the kind of things that they want to get.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think that Belgium, the fact that you have gone to nationalize or you have taken citizenship of that country, means that you are more of that country than you are of your country of origin. And so I would think that, yes, if our judiciary will stay strong and go straight to the issues, they should be in a position. They should be in a position to obtain justice for this man. Okay. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that when justice is obtained, it will lead to even a further national healing for the people of Rwanda.
All right.
I also hope that should the judges rule unfavorably, Paul Kagame will look at the issues and on the merits of it and probably grant him the pardon that he deserves, so that they can find a way to heal the country that has suffered so much damage in the history of the continent of Africa. I think that Rwanda cannot degenerate. In any case, the fact that I have formed a group and the group has not done anything abnormal, and we have an ambition to take over government, which ambition is an ambition of each and every political actor. Why should that become a curse on the individuals who decided to constitute that group? So much must be done, but I'm not just comfortable, to be honest with you. I'm not comfortable with the story that is emanating from Rwanda.
Thank you.
I think that we can do better than we are doing now.
Okay. Honorable, let me just pick your thoughts on this issue, and then can you pass that newspaper to me respectfully? Yeah.
Kwame, I intend to be very brief. I think Comrade Bernard Mona has done a lot of justice to that. Let me first and foremost say a good morning to Comrade Bernard Mona and my brother Protocol, and your good self Kwame, our technicians here, and the regional people of the South Narrow constituency. Come again.
Idris
Idris. I said it's my brother Idris Protocol. Let me.
I can take
no,
it.
It's locked. You can't do it.
I've done it.
Okay. You just muted it.
So, Kwame, I think Rwanda, I was one of a few privileged journalists in this country in 1994 to have gone to Rwanda to see and report on the genocide there. And that is where I salute the gallantry, heroism, and professionalism of our armed forces. And that's why any day, any time, Kwame, I always speak for our gallant men and women of our armed forces. And notwithstanding the recent attempts under this government to bring down that hard-won image and integrity of our forces with the manner in which recruitments have been done and others, and I think that is something that we should watch. The Ghana Armed Forces has a very, very enviable reputation, both at home here and abroad. Kwame, when all nations fled Rwanda in the wake of the genocide, it was only the Ghana Armed Forces. Kwame, and I'm talking about the whole world. You had European countries and others, they all ran away. Kwame, it was the Ghana Armed Forces, men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces who stayed and protected life and property in Rwanda. And through that was able to save millions of Rwandans from being massacred. And Kwame, when we went there, we saw horrific, unspeakable, beastly crimes that were coming. You go to a place, and for instance, there was a place where human beings alive were reportedly collected and filled into a well. They collect human being, throw inside, throw another, throw until the well was full. And they cement it. They close it. That's why I said they were unspeakable. I mean,
that's why I said you should watch Shooting Dogs.
Yeah, you cannot imagine the beastly nature of a human being. That a human being can do this to your fellow human being. It's unspeakable crime. So I hope and pray that this never ever happens anywhere again. Not even in Rwanda again. And so I think that for all those who stood up against those things, and I think that this was one guy who was one person who is reputed to have held this thing out for everybody. So by no means, if anybody has questions to answer under the law, I don't see that no matter your status, you should be exempted. So Kwame, if in the laws of Rwanda, they believe some infractions are taking place under his watch, fine. Maybe the manner in which he was brought back to Rwanda and can also be questioned. But if he's there, my only prayer is that the wheel of justice must be allowed to spin freely and fairly, so that he can have a proper day in court for justice to be given. I do associate with Comrade Benamona's distance about the extent in which in Africa judicial decisions sometimes have political undertones. And so you never know what will happen in this particular instance. And so I just hope that justice will be allowed to be done and seen to be done, as you lawyers put it. So that at the end of the day, if he has questions to answer, he's given the opportunity to have his day in court, so that the real issues will be determined on the strength of the evidence that is adduced before the court, and for the requisite evidence to be the weight upon which the verdict will be given, so that all of us are assured. Because I believe that we should not create another situation in Rwanda where it is possible again for tensions again and other decisions to rise to a point that it has a potential to threaten social stability. I think that Rwanda deserves peace. I think under Paul Kagame, they have made some President Paul Kagame, they have made some very important strides. And there are a number of these things that Rwanda has been cited as a good example for Africa of how countries under very good leadership can make some progress in ensuring a better life for their people. So I'm sure that we should not do anything that will erase that positive image through another attempts to create social instability and also deny citizens of the country the justice that they deserve. So I'm looking at the balance of the issues and saying that it should be possible for us to get Rwanda continue on the path of social stability by ensuring that justice is also done under the aegis of Rwanda's current democracy.
Thank you. Protocol.
Yeah, Mr. Keudi, thank you so much. Let me say good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to Honorable Ibi Ifseni, and good morning to my boss Bernard Mona. Let me also extend courtesies to the leadership of the New Patriotic Party and the communication outfit of the party. I think that the issue of the Rwandan case, just as they have, actually exposed, especially the historical antecedents of the, of the genocide, I think that for me, it brought out clearly some of the, if you like, the hypocrisies that were witnessed on that particular fateful period, where the United Nations at that time could not take a decisive decision to, as it were, try to see how best they will be able to save lives and properties in the country. Now, and especially if you look at what actually transpired, you know, given a recollection from one of the generals of the country, I'm referring to General Henry Kwame Anyidohu, who led the Ghanaian contingent to Rwanda in order that they were able to, as it were, avert that particular problem. He wrote a book, and if you know listeners or viewers are minded, the title of the book is Guns Over Kigali. If you read that particular literature, you would come to terms with the horrific situations that actually greeted the people of Rwanda. So for me, African countries, and for that matter Rwanda or any other country that have actually witnessed these kinds of checkered history, we ought to take it as a learning curve in order that we don't repeat such dastardly acts in the future, because human cohesion is very important moving into this particular 21st century. You cannot develop as a country, especially so when we are African countries, where at the end of the day we are seen to be only trying to see how best we can move into, if you like, a second world country, if there is that particular kind of a cliche description. So description. So for me, at the end of the day, it has to do with the rule of law and, you know, other processes or governmental structures that African countries would, as it were, construct to be able to ensure that we follow a particular due process in whatever, you know, issues that we want to deal with. I think that talking about the issue of the Supreme Court or justices of the Supreme Court, because the crux of the matter is that, as you've cited, that the hero, one of the heroes who, you know, engaged in the play Hotel Rwanda, you know, is being halted before the Supreme Court on account of treasonable charges. I want to pray and hope that these issues does not escalate and it will not degenerate into situations that would require the intervention of African leaders to be able to, as it were, control whatever flames that is likely to arise. Because at the end of the day, remember, you know, when people, and I'm not holding brief for Mr. Paul, I think that crime is a crime, regardless of who is actually perpetrating it. If the court system or if the legal process finds him guilty and whatever, you know, what is it called? Sanctions that will be meted out to him should be done. But it should be, justice should be seen manifestly done. I don't want to look at a situation where, or we do not need to witness a situation where Mr. Paul Kagame is actually taking him as an scapegoat for purposes of, you know, wanting to, as it were, entrench his regime. So this, for me, if that is the thinking, or if that is the rationale behind all these kind of issues surrounding Mr. Paul, I think that the justices of the Supreme Court should look into the merit of the case and then, as it were, ensure that they deliver justice that will resonate with the good people of Rwanda, so that peace and tranquility would prevail.
Thank you very, very, very much, Protocol, for that submission. Ministerial vetting.
Why is he accusing somebody?
Honorable.
He's run away.
Somebody's accusing somebody.
Who is accusing?
Honorable. Ministerial vetting.
Yes, sir.
They say somebody gets some microfinance and things, Charlie. They take the borrow money, they don't pay. And somebody to say fish. Ghana.
Kwame, there is a lot to say about this vetting, and I'm sure we cannot certainly discuss. Well, let me say first and foremost that.
But what is your issue with this gay rights movement? Why do you have an issue with it?
We can discuss it before this.
Why do you have an issue with it?
Yes, it's part of, even the vetting is featured.
Yeah, so then you touch on that. So let's go through this whole process, and then you add it to your submission.
Kwame, let me say first and foremost, as a Muslim, I believe, and without any prejudice to saying that you are foisting your ideas on other people. In a democracy, there's freedom of expression, freedom of association. Those things are there, but there are also laws that guide the formation and operation of associations. And as a Muslim, I believe Almighty Allah has made this a very, very despicable act that we should not engage in.
Mm-hmm.
And we have it as a basis for procreation, that procreation is between man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that definition, Kwame, having come from Almighty Allah for all time, will not change. Unless you tell me, Kwame, maybe people can say it later, but I don't know the science where a man can get pregnant. No matter what it is.
But who says every man wants to give birth or procreate?
No, I'm just asking that if man can procreate himself, can become pregnant himself, that he doesn't. And that is why the superior knowledge of the Almighty Allah in creating man and woman for the basis for procreation must remain so and go unchallenged. And Kwame, that's why I say it's a subject of our belief that, in fact, with the notable exception in Islam of associating a partner with Allah Almighty, which is an unforgivable crime in Islam. You know, Allah Almighty says He can forgive many sins that we as mortals commit. But those that include creating a partner and associating him with a partner, it's one of the most grievous crimes. We will not try. One other one is this particular thing that we are talking about. Man going after man, woman going after woman, those kinds of unnatural carnal knowledge, which is, Kwame, you are a lawyer. You people know in our criminal code 1960, I think that is part of this unnatural carnal knowledge thing. And so, Kwame, we in our society have norms and values that clearly see this act as very, very abnormal and something that should not be allowed to get space in our day. People do things in their bedrooms and others and nobody knows. Yeah, it can stay there. But Kwame, not as an open-ended activity that comes to the fore. No.
Why?
In our society.
Why?
Kwame, I just indicated to you, even from the religious, moral and
but it's not everybody who subscribes to that. The fact that somebody doesn't subscribe to your religion does not mean that they don't have freedom to do what they feel is right.
That's why I'm saying that this is a religious society. Even in our traditional system, we have Christians, we have Muslims, we have traditionalists, we have. Where is that accepted? Tell me. It's not. So it tells you that the preponderance of our Ghanaian society does not. I am not oblivious of the need to respect minority rights. I agree. But I'm saying that even where our laws frown on it, Kwame, we should not.
But laws are made for people. The laws are supposed to
Kwame,
factor into the changing times
Kwame,
of now.
Kwame.
And that is precisely...
So there should come times when we make armed robbery legal.
No, but...
Why?
Yeah, but I mean...
Sadists who get pleasure through torture, we should make that possible, because that is where they get their pleasure. That is where their rights are fulfilled.
But nobody...
If you are going to go on that tangent, that because people have certain behavioral needs, you must make laws to accommodate them. Kwame, then you will get to a place where even sadists, torturers, who derive pleasure from inflicting pain on people to get pleasure, you will have to make laws to accommodate them. You will get an open-ended society where the laws can go into any legal realm, and Kwame, you have no end.
Because you see, if you're going on the religious tangent, for instance, Islam supports polygamy, correct?
Yes.
Christianity doesn't.
Yes.
Does it make it a crime?
Where? Which part of the Bible?
You see.
But do you guys Christians? I'm not a Christian.
Yes.
So I'm only saying.
Yeah, he's only saying that Christians officially say that you cannot have more than one wife. But even I'm even telling you, Kwame, I don't want to even get there. Because even if you talk of the exalted prophets and others, from Abraham had 2 wives.
Which Bible?
Is it not true?
I don't know.
You should know. You should know. He had Sarah and Hagar. I can mention their names for you.
Okay.
At the age of 90, with his wife Sarah. They didn't have a child. A lie. And he took on the Hagar.
I heard so.
Was that not his wife? And had Ishmael. And Ishmael was the first son of Abraham. And God asked Abraham to sacrifice his only son. Who was that only son? Please, let's not go into those ones. But I'm just indicating to you that, Kwame, this particular act is despicable. No.
In the estimation
in our society norms, laws, even our law. I just told you, go and read the criminal code, 1960.
So it's about to change.
Why? About to change, it hasn't changed. So even as we speak now, that is the law of this land. I lie.
But what has done? What has occasioned?
I am just saying why that it is inimical to the interest of this society of ours. We don't accept it.
Why?
People don't accept it.
Why? Must people?
Because it's inimical. It's unnatural. It's ungodly. That's not what God created for us.
How do you know what God created for you? Have you read God before?
Why? God created man and woman, and we know it. You know that for a fact. Is it not a fact?
But maybe God created. You are not the one God was creating man and woman.
I am just indicating to you. You are clear.
But
in your mind,
what you are saying is what the Bible and the Quran tells you. What you are saying is what the Bible and the Quran
is the reality in our society.
But were you the one God created?
That is what we have met. Didn't you come to meet God? Men and women existing as partners.
But are you also telling me that men and men didn't exist at the time as partners?
Where? So let me give you that example. And that is why I'm giving you that. Where it was practiced, God in his wrath overturned those cities. Sodom and Gomorrah, you have heard of it. You have heard of it.
I was not there. So I'm just
indicating. So Kwame, listen to me. That's why I'm indicating to you that it is such an abhorrent practice that God frowns on it.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that.
That's to you.
Yes. Okay. And for men of religion, not just to me. For men of religion, Christians believe it. Traditional people believe it. And that is why it found a way into our criminal code. It is not an accident that it found its way into our criminal code.
Okay.
Of unnatural carnal knowledge. Okay? Kwame. And it has, over the years, it has been frowned upon.
So when the laws change, will opposition change?
Which laws?
When the laws of this nation
Kwame, that's
change.
why we say that all people of conscience and religion must stand up and resist it. Kwame, today, you may believe it or not, but you can stay on this earth for 200 years. Mm-hmm. You will die. A lie?
Everybody will die.
And we believe you will face your maker. Your religion may say that you don't face a maker, but the overwhelming majority of people in this country, of men and women of religion, believe that you will die and you will face your maker. And you will answer some of these questions.
But that's between you and your maker.
Yes.
It is not for anybody.
And so for those who, the overwhelming majority who believe in that, must not allow their destiny to be subverted.
But that is their choice, isn't it?
It's not a choice.
No, it's a choice.
Right.
Because
why do we, for instance, elect governments? Mm-hmm. It's to do the bidding of the overwhelming majority of the people in that country.
Yeah.
And if the overwhelming majority of the people in this country say we don't want it, we don't want it. Why would you think we should want it? Because it's unnatural. It cannot serve as a basis.
Who determines what is natural?
A man marries another man for 100 years. Can you bring forth a child?
You don't know that.
It is not possible. I know it. Kwame, I know it. It can't happen. A woman sleeping with a woman cannot conceive. Kwame, that is not the basis of education.
Who determines what is natural and what is unnatural? Who determines it?
Law. And the people determine the law. So the people are saying that it's unnatural carnal knowledge. Don't do it.
All right. Yeah, let's proceed.
So Kwame, I'm saying that is how governments over the years have protected it and prevented it. So I want to use this opportunity to call on all people of religion, moral conscience, and those who cherish the order and the blessings that the Almighty Allah. Kwame, let's not take it for granted. There are people who may not believe that believe in God, but God has been very merciful to this society. Let us not do anything to incur the wrath of God. And this is one of the areas that, Kwame, if we are not careful and we venture into that, we will have a very serious problem on our hands. And I want to call on all men, women, and people of religion to stand up, because this country is now being taken on that path. Kwame, governments have gone and governments have been in this country and they have gone. They have fought resolutely against this. Why is it that under the government of Nana Akufo-Addo, we are beginning to see things like this? You remember, Kwame, from the time of President Rawlings, they attempted to bring this lewd behavior into this country. It was resisted.
Lewd?
Yes. It was resisted. Okay? President Kufuor, from 2001, when he became president, they attempted. The President Kufuor said, no way. and fought against it. And made it abundantly clear that not under his watch.
You believe that
the same thing came under President Atamius. Let me flow, I beg you.
Okay.
The same thing happened. He said never under over his dead body. It happened under President Mama. Take all the money. President Mama even said that you can take away all your money. It won't happen under his watch. When President Akufo-Addo went, Kwame, you remember under the Al Jazeera interview? What did he say? That it is bound to happen. For the first time in our history, a leader looked at the people in this particular matter when he had to speak decisively, said it is bound to happen.
Because he recognizes that society is changing.
Kwame,
he recognizes that.
Kwame, the answer of a leader sometimes points the way forward. You know, in the answer, there were details about the development of a civil society organization that will grow and make it permissible one day.
Because it's possible.
Kwame, you don't talk about it. You talk about the law in the interest of your country and your people. That is the preoccupation.
But
not about making statements that can give a potential to untoward behavior to flourish.
But there are different people in your country
Kwame,
that you must make.
Not long after the pronouncement, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? Now today, they are opening an office in Ghana. In fact, they have opened an office in Ghana. You know that?
But why? Is it illegal?
Not too long ago.
Is it illegal to?
Illegal.
How is it illegal?
I am saying that, is it a legal organization? Can armed robbers go and open an office in anywhere in this country?
Have they told you that what they are doing is illegal?
Kwame, they have to. I say our laws make it illegal.
But why would they allow the registration?
Don't you yourself know that?
Opening of a company if they feel that it is illegal?
Don't you yourself know that activity is illegal?
How do I know that?
It's in the laws. I am just a lawyer. Don't you know that in our criminal code 1960 it's there? You don't know that.
I just think that Kwame is trying to disturb you.
Kwame, it is there, and you know that. So why would you allow an illegal activity to flourish for them to be opening offices? Kwame, you remember, even outside of the political divide, this was a matter that came up, and we took up the matter even in Parliament, where this CSE, what is it called?
CSOs?
No, we this sexuality, comprehensive sexuality education, CSE.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
In the run-up to that debate on this CSE, where even in the syllabus government was trying to prepare, it was there in our Ghanaian language. This is that we're going to teach our children, to teach the children from young age to begin to accept that it's normal for man and man to cohabitate. It's normal for women and women to cohabitate, so that they teach the children and they grow up with this weird mentality.
How weird? You came to meet some set of rules. You have adopted those set of rules to be the rules that will govern you.
Kwame, the one who
things are changing.
Kwame, the one who created you and I has said that the basis for procreation is man and woman.
When did he say that? Where?
That is what has been throughout the history.
Been throughout where? Do you know, have you seen God before?
You see, Kwame.
Oh no, have you seen God before?
Kwame.
Why are you not escaping this temptation from Kwame?
But I'm just indicating to Kwame that no matter, I will not be distracted.
Because it's like this moment.
I will not be distracted. So Kwame.
Oh no, we have not seen God before.
I want to find out.
No, not there.
I want to find out what they put in that cup. Aside that, I suspect it's coffee, but there's something in addition to that.
That's why you said
are you trying to tell me that I'm not in control of my senses?
No. I think there's something beyond the coffee.
If they say you have taken it, so there will be apology later. So Kwame,
yes, sir.
I'm just indicating that. Why are they now getting the courage to flourish, to even hold a conference where it was attended by diplomats in the country?
Yes, because they have not.
Kwame, they have not even been called to order. If diplomats are attending activities that are illegal, illegitimate functions, Kwame, they must be called to order. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs should have by now invited those diplomats to come and answer questions. Kwame, it is not acceptable. And that is why I find it as a grave threat. I know that a number of civil society organizations, and I'm sure, I think the Pentecostal Council and others, I want to hear the office of the chief imam, the Christian Council, our traditional rulers, the plurality of Ghanaians, get up and speak very loudly and eloquently on this matter before it gets loose. Kwame, where we are going, if we don't stand up, Kwame, and allow these nefarious activities to take root, Kwame, we are doomed as a society. The fact that certain things happen in the West are not necessarily synonymous with the fact that we must adopt them hook, line, and sinker and bring them into our society. Kwame, this is unacceptable behavior. And I've said that, why? Allah Almighty, His wisdom has created you a man. You want to be a woman. Do you know better? And that's why people, you see that even now, transgender, and you can even transform your gender from a man to a woman. Kwame, these kinds of behaviors are not things that we should tolerate and encourage in our society here.
Okay.
We should not.
Okay.
And so, yes, while I want to salute the likes of Moses Moni and others who are at the forefront to do this, I don't want violence in respect of this matter. I believe that every Ghanaian has rights and freedoms. We must respect everybody's rights and freedom. But the respect of rights and freedom is not synonymous with engaging in behaviors that are contrary to our values and norms, and that also are illegal as far as the law is concerned now. The fact that we should allow freedom of expression, freedom of association to go on, doesn't mean that you should allow anything and everything to go on. And Kwame, it is very, very important. And I will hold this government responsible for giving space for all these things to be happening at this time, following the pronouncement of the president that this is bound to happen. And sooner or later, Kwame, not too long ago, I'm sure you even we saw pictures on social media about somebody in the military, I think a woman. Kwame, I'm addressing you.
I'm listening.
Not too long ago, you must have seen some pictures of in the military, that a military woman marrying another woman in the distance. I'm sure you saw it. This, in our very revered, respected military, is not acceptable. We cannot allow those things to go on. Kwame, and I think that the law, I eschew violence. No violence should be meted against anybody. But the law must be made to take its course. People who are infringing our laws must be arraigned.
All right.
Must be dealt with on that score.
Okay.
And so I think that the pronouncement of His Excellency the President was not helpful. All right. And not only that, even creating that atmosphere for people to engage in this kind of ungodly and anti-societal acts are not things that we should tolerate. All right. So I hope to see an acceleration of activities on the part of those who cherish the values of our society to get up and not only speak, but act.
Okay, thank you, Honorable.
To make sure, because Kwame, your child, my child, at risk. You may be putting all these questions to me, but I'm telling you, Kwame, your child, watch out what they are going to teach him about permissiveness. You should see things normal between a man and a man.
But at the end of the day, it becomes a matter of choice. What you decide to do is what you decide
to
do.
So, Kwame, that's what I say. If I decide to choose to indulge in criminal acts, things that are against the law, will I be permitted?
Now it's against the law. Maybe in the future,
it's against the law. As we speak, it's against the law. So it should not be permitted.
But the president said it's bound to happen. So, I mean, civil society organizations can...
Yes, and that is what people are sitting on. And in that one, he was talking about even the creation of a civil society that would encourage people to think outside the box and think about things like this. That is what is now happening today. Following the pronouncements of the president. It's giving Philip to these things. It's an encouragement. And that is why under his watch, we are beginning to see what is happening. Kwame, under his watch.
Yeah.
I just gave you what, even, and this is not partisan, because I just gave you what President Nana Akufo, President Kufuor, under President Kufuor, he said, wallahi, over his dead body. It no go happen that.
People are asking me some very interesting questions on Facebook.
Exactly. So it no go happen that.
Because I'm asking. You see, it's about
human
rights.
Yes, Kwame, human rights.
It's about people having their rights to freely express themselves in a manner that they deem fit.
Kwame, I have done human rights. In fact, my master's degree is in human rights.
Yeah. So if you have done human rights, you should know that everybody.
By no stretch, and that is why I said that every right of freedom of expression and association must be respected.
Yeah, but equality before the law
No, equality before the law is anchored on the law.
Absolutely.
And so if the law frowns on something, you don't.
But the law
frowns on it.
That way.
And I just showed you where
the
the
law frowns on natural carnage.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yes. So anybody who indulges in that is violating the law.
Why? Your husband and wife.
So if you form an association to promote those acts, you are engaging in illegal activity.
But most men and women also engage themselves in carnal knowledge. How is it criminal?
You form an association for the promotion of certain, and then you are allowed to go ahead and do it. So that activity is illegal. So an activity, Kwame, that is illegal. You form an association.
So that I don't get it.
Kwame, listen to your this thing very well. An activity that the law frowns upon, that the law says is illegal. You form an association to promote those acts, and you tell me that it's allowed. Kwame, the logic, it doesn't add up. There is something which the law frowns upon. The law says it's illegal, but you are permitted to form an association to promote those illegal acts. How can the two gel? It certainly cannot.
All right. Your point.
And you know it. The basis for procreation is man and woman.
But who says everybody wants to procreate?
So if you don't want to procreate, the basis for that cohabitation is man and woman.
Honorable.
Kwame,
my viewers.
Kwame, you have a very beautiful wife. Why did you go and marry a man?
No, because that's not my preference. That's a matter of choice.
If it is good, as you are saying, if it's good,
but it's a matter of choice.
Leave your wife and go and marry a woman.
It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice.
I see that within 24 hours you have run out of your house. So that is the natural basis Allah Almighty in His infinite wisdom has created. I am not by any stretch, like I said from the very beginning, that you cannot. There's no compulsion in enforcing your religious beliefs and others on people. No, that is in itself is a violation of the fundamental human rights of others. And I as a human rights practitioner, I know that. But I'm saying that some of these things are done within the ambit of the law and taking due cognizance of societal norms and values. And that is where we are. Our society overwhelmingly, 99.something% frowns on that.
So the 1% that supports it.
Yes, I'm saying that they are supporting an illegitimate, illegal activity.
The president said it will become legitimate soon. So let's.
And that is where I have the problem. That must not be allowed.
Your only issue is that
it must not be allowed.
Now it is illegal, and the people are promoting illegality. That's your only issue now. And I'm saying that soon it will become legal.
So Kwame, let me just
legal,
limit it there. You are certain that it's an illegal activity, and people are doing so. We should allow them. Is that what you are saying? You yourselves accept it's an illegal activity, but they are doing it, so we should allow it.
But don't they have the right to do what they feel? Well, I think Honorable is done on this issue.
Kwame, I can't.
It's not Honorable, it's the host.
Anyway,
because you see, Kwame took a lot of my time.
I'm not interjecting. I'm only asking questions because
in fact, Kwame has spoken.
What is your worry?
A protocol.
Because we are going to speak the same language.
Protocol. Kwame has spoken more of my time than myself.
Actually, the topic is not on that. It's on vetting.
This topic.
Yes.
I will speak on it at the same level.
So you finish, Kwame. Let me let them speak, and then we can get to the other. So for me, Kwame, the matter is very simple.
Yeah.
It's illegal. Our laws don't accept it.
I think you have already advanced.
The values and religion of our people don't accept it. And I expect men of religion, men of other disciplines of social conscience, men of authority who cherish the value and aspirations of our society to get up and speak. And government must move away. If even the president said it's bound to happen, by the grace of Allah Almighty, it won't happen here. It was not bound to happen in Ghana and will not happen in Ghana.
All right. 026084653. Now, what are your thoughts on this issue? Bernard, you want to touch on that?
Kwame. President Akufo-Addo, by his actions, that tend to sap deeply into the scarce resources of this country, has decided to choose prime areas or a prime area where judges, where we housed our National Passport Office, where so many national offices, including the Scholarship Secretariat, many other private residents used to be located, decided to collapse all that stretch of land in fulfillment of a pledge President Akufo-Addo single-handedly made to God. It was not a national pledge, it was President Akufo-Addo's pledge that if God assists him to become president, he will put a national cathedral for God. That God that condemns Sodom and Gomorrah, a national cathedral is being erected. And before the national cathedral can come to completion, we are legitimizing a man-to-man fucking each other.
Oh, you can't use such words on the show, please. Respectfully. Respectfully.
A man-to-man having sex.
Yes, that's okay.
That's acceptable to you.
That's okay. You are not in court. If you were in court, you could have just said that, what you said. But we're on TV, so it's...
That fucking is not acceptable.
Bernard.
That sex is acceptable.
Sex is acceptable. Sex is
Well,
acceptable.
I'm not as diplomatic as you people want me to be. I'm sorry, but no, I don't mind. So a man and a man can fuck each other. A woman to a woman can fuck each other.
Bernard.
What is wrong?
Having sex, I think that one is okay.
That's what you choose. You want to impose your choice of words.
You see? So you're also imposing your choice of...
No, I'm not imposing. I'm speaking my mind. And you people are restraining me from speaking.
No, but you can't use some words on air. There's a language for TV that's not... come on, Bernard, you know this.
That what?
Yeah, when we are discussing, you can...
But I can talk about this one as my forehead. That one you accept it. And I can't mention some other organs by their names. What hypocrisy is this? So we are allowing our national cathedral, so it will become a house where we will now be celebrating and blessing marriages of gays, lesbians, transgender, and what have you. Is that what the so-called men of God are glorifying in this country? Why? Why are we doing this? This is our nation. And so those who claim to be men of God, who want to uphold the Bible and the Quran, and those who want to make the libation as I did this morning.
You did libation this
Oh yes, before I took my tea.
Okay.
Yes, protocol saw it. You understand? We must be guided that these are unethical. Kwame, when you say a right, there is a difference between somebody's right and an abnormality. Anytime there is an abnormality, you find a cure. Somebody has moved from the normal into a realm of absurdity.
To you.
And you come and say that let's glorify it because the person's...
Is it not absurd to you too?
Is the
No, to you.
Kwame, you want me to get up and do demonstration? The man opens the
Why? To you. Come on.
You are fine. Even wanting to demonstrate, you see how absurd it is to you.
It's not absurd.
When
I'm
you
saying that we are on
when you
TV.
get your-
When you use a certain... No. You see, you are trying to explain something. Explain it in a manner that will be understood by the viewing public.
And you think that by speaking directly, the people don't understand it. You understand English more than the people.
I have never said that.
So what is your point?
My point is that you are using some words which are not acceptable. That's what I'm saying.
Give me an example of such a word.
What you just said. You use the F word on the show. Don't try to trick me, Bernard.
So Kwame.
Yes, my boss.
Take it from that angle.
People are laughing on Facebook. When you got up. Please proceed, sorry.
In this country, Kwame, these are serious matters.
Very serious.
Prostitutes, persons suspected to be prostitutes, are arrested. They are prosecuted for going on the streets. And what are they doing? They don't even call themselves prostitutes. They call themselves commercial sex workers. Alaji, take note. They are working to earn income, take care of themselves and their family. That is how they describe themselves. in our laws, you have decided to criminalize their activities. You go after them. So much that the Adentan MCE, one occasion said that even a pastor's wife was involved in the act. These are just prostitutes. So they are not doing man to man or woman to woman. They are doing woman to man and man to woman. But for the fact that our society abhors the existence of prostitutes, harlots, we go after them. Today, we are told that, oh no, there is nothing. These people, that is their right. That is why I find it very exciting, Alaji. You remember not long ago, they arrested some armed robbers. And Kwame, I'm sure you have been following court proceedings.
Yes, I have.
When they got to the court, the prosecutor started talking. These are armed robbers. They are doing this and this and this and this. And one of them didn't wait for the lawyer to talk. He just got up and said, no, what is this man talking about? What the man is saying, I don't know. Me, I'm doing my work. What I go to attack people is the work that I have. I have no other job to do. Kwame.
Yes, sir.
That person you have described as armed robber says that is his legitimate job. That is where he gets income, feed his family, take his children to school so that they can also become judges like the judge who is sitting on the case. Why have you criminalized that? Why are you not giving them their human rights? Their right to go out and arm robbed? Why are you not giving people whose excitement it is to just go and start cutting people's head? Their right to start cutting off people's head. We should grant them their freedoms. Because we are here talking about human rights. And you don't know that an abnormality requires a cure. And when you have a government that decides that, look, don't talk about these things, it is bound to happen. And that there's no groundswell enough. And that is why these issues are being described. And today, there is a seeming groundswell. Who encouraged it? Because under President Kufuor, I remember when they decided that they were coming to Ghana, that was around 2007, 2008.
He said no.
They were coming here to hold an international conference on LGBTs. President Kufuor issued a clear statement that it will not be held in this country. Under Atamils, it was David Cameron, Nosu, who decided that, look, aid to African countries will be tied to their legitimizing gay rights. And the Queen came and said, apologized that it was their laws that defined marriages. And therefore, they will help the African countries. What did President Mills say? He said that keep your aid. And that over his dead body, probably President Mills is dead, so this thing can't come. It was even President Yahya Jammeh who said that anybody that wants to try that thing will be annihilated. And don't forget, in Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe said, okay, I will grant gay rights, but I'll put a man and a man in the same room, those of you who want to marry, and give you 2 years. If you are able to bring forth a baby, and I'll put a woman to a room, if you are able to bring forth a baby, you will be allowed to come and form your movement. But if you are not, we will kill you. That is leadership. In Nigeria, when the issue came, within midnight, they had to pass stringent laws. Something that is not acceptable. You are here criminalizing multiple marriages, what we call polygamy. No. And then you are accepting LGBTs. And then your Minister for Justice goes to Parliament and says that it is their human rights. Human rights. Bottom's rights.
Thank you. Bernard, Mona. Protocol.
Mr. Kewudi.
Yes, sir.
I think having listened to my senior,
If you can speak up. With venom.
I get the sense that there is a mix-up somewhere. But let me start by also saying that issues of law and how laws are written. They are written on the basis of the cultural nuances that exist within a particular society. So that is how come that every society or every segment of the society has their peculiarities in terms of the way they live, the way they associate their cultures, you know, their demeanor, etc., etc. So these are the nuances that, you know, make a sense for the country to be able to couch a particular law that will reflect the aspirations of them. Now, the idea of religion is a very huge issue that we must be very careful about, because in this world there are so many religious belief systems and etc. That is how come somebody like Ninian Smart, for him he defines religion as the feeling of the presence of the holy order. That is for her, religion is just basically when you get a sense that there is that particular, you know, a bigger father that you must associate yourself with. For her, that is what religion is about. Now, in one of the scholars' attempt, Friedrich Nietzsche, for him, he was an atheist. He said that there wasn't, there is no God. So in order that he was able to carry out a thesis to be able to justify his claim, what he did was that he used 1 week to make an announcement that, and every day, early in the morning, he would come out and be beating a gong, saying that, God, where are you? If you believe you exist, come before us and let's see you. So he did that for 7 days, that is 1 week. Unfortunately, God didn't appear. So he came back and wrote a thesis to the extent that there is no God. So you see, I'm making this particular exposition because religion is a very delicate issue that we must be very, very cognizant about. I'm a Muslim. I'm an avowed Muslim. And God has admonished that there is no compulsion in religion. That is, la ikraha fi din. So for me, this should be a guiding principle any time that we would want to manifest our lives. I think that the laws of the country have actually made it very clear by criminalizing certain activities of us that are seen to be awkward. That is how come they have inserted in our legal books the unnatural carnal knowledge law. So for me, it's about time we try to see how best we govern, or if you like, we hold fast to the laws of the country. Now, the issue is that, for example, it is natural that human beings have the right to personal liberty, the right to life. Now, just because somebody is seen having a natural carnal knowledge, let's say with an animal, for example, and people rush on such a person and start beating the person up because they have seen that that person, you know, is seen to have a natural carnal knowledge with an animal. Now, the law frowns on that particular act, for example, but the tendency of, you know, passers-by to also mount on the person are also equally committing a crime. You understand? So we are now left into, you know, what is it called?
In a situation.
In a situation that we can describe as a dilemma. I think that the attempt by Honorable A.B. Efisini and Mr. Bernard Mona to want to, as it were, associate the government of the day as if to suggest that the government led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is, as it were, welcoming the idea of LBGC or whatever it is, I think it's unfair. Now, there is that mention of the comprehensive sexuality education. And I thought that Honorable ought to have buried his head, with shame, because it was the tenor led by the running mate of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who actually championed this particular course of sexuality education when she was the education minister. And I'm referring to Prof. Nana Jane Ajiman Opoku or whatever. Opoku Ajiman. So for me, and don't forget that governance is a continuum. When that particular issue of the comprehensive sexuality education came out, at the end of the day, the NDC were embarrassed to the core because of the fact that they mooted that particular idea. They accepted those particular, advancements, where at the end of the day they needed to even add it, as it were, add it to the curriculum for people, for our students to be taught.
Honorable disagrees with you on that.
Kwame.
So you see, for me,
I'll come back.
That is how come I said that I have tried to make a distinction between the law and the reality. So I think that we should not try to politicize this thing. That is how come I gave a scenario.
What is your position on the issue?
My position on the issue, and don't forget that was even not what you table even for discussion.
What is your position?
My position is very simple. I am a human being. I will not acquiesce to any kind of indecent, activities that goes contrary to my religion. Neither should I also use my, personal idiosyncrasies to subvert the law because I am trying to deal with somebody. So at the end of the day, we have to look at
chicken and egg situation.
Exactly, it is a chicken and egg situation.
All right.
At the end of, because see, that is how come I said that. Oh no, but you see, boss, that is typically what you have demonstrated, because you don't.
You sat here and said that
you see,
try to bring President Akufo-Addo in, and
that is the partisan position you have taken.
You see,
simply pointed out to the actions other president took in order to be able to stay away the issues of LBGTs. President Akufo-Addo, his actions and his words rather fortify these LGBTs to do the kind of things they are doing.
That is not the case, because
you don't think that you side with the president on the issues. You are here trying to embellish the things that the president has said.
Boss, you see,
why are you doing with this? This does not give you political glory. Honestly speaking, you come from Dagbon in particular. And after speaking this way, go to Dagbon and see how they will look at you. You come from a community.
Are you inciting the people?
No, you come from a society.
Are you inciting the society?
He knows what
but you are inciting the people against
I'm not inciting the people. But you come from a society, and you know that the society has exactly what you are saying.
But Bernard, it is wrong for you to do what you are doing.
Where?
Bernard, it is wrong for you to do what you are doing.
My brother has
because he has his own position. That is his
protocol.
position.
I just leave.
What has he subscribed to your position?
I want him to finish, and I will
he invited me into this struggle.
No, comrade, I'm with you. Make some ignorance.
He's not Kwame.
Comrade, I'm with you. Submit.
So I would say that when Bernard make a reference to the construction of the cathedral, that itself should have also indicated to you that look, the president is someone who is open-minded on when it comes to this particular issue.
Yeah.
But he does not compromise his religious beliefs. So for me, that is how I ought to look at
all other infractions on our law as human rights. Kwame, prostitutes in our country must have the human right to do their commercial sex work. Murderers, armed robbers must have their human rights to go out there, as one of them claim in court.
Why are you comparing apples to oranges?
When you decide to bring apples and oranges and ask for comparison, you compare them.
Kwame, can I make some?
Unless he wants to grant you that. I need to be fair to protocol.
Yes, you need to be fair to me.
Yeah, protocol proceed.
And see, I think that viewers should not get me wrong, because I noticed Bernard Mona was trying to cast a slur on my analysis on the issue of the issue. I am not in any way glorifying or, as it were, acquiescing to people who thinks that they are transgender, they are bisexual, and all those particular kind of descriptions that can be attributed to them. But let us also not forget of the fact that there are laws in the country that actually, as it were, embraces people's right to life. So, for example, if let's say you see, two males having an interaction, and you think that you can arrogate yourself and, as it were, just bump onto them and start beating them.
This is not what we say.
Let me read a few.
No, that is typically. No. So at the end of the day,
Anybody say that they will start beating them?
Anybody say that?
Nobody said that.
Even in my exposure, I said first and foremost
that right must be
that
respected.
rights of everybody must be respected. Nobody must be violence on another person.
That one.
Even when you believe that
Let me read messages. Let me read a few messages. Gentlemen, let's
justify.
Let's control our temper. Some people have started threatening me. I mean, I don't know why people are threatening me. Kwame, stop this. This one. No, why? Somebody says
he was doing his work.
It is their human rights to threaten. It is their human rights to threaten you.
It's just question.
No, it's their human rights to threaten you.
You see how far you can carry absurd level.
No. That's what they want. It is their human rights to threaten you.
Nobody has a right to threaten another.
Those who are threatening me, you are at liberty.
I disagree.
You are at liberty to do that. It's your human right to threaten me, so it's okay.
No.
Kwame,
Nobody has a right.
Can I read your messages? Kwame, stop misbehaving. I like Bernard. Kwame, take your time. You are warned. I say you are warned.
Kwame, this is a serious matter.
This government legalized weed for medicinal purposes. Now legalizing LGBT for choices. Soon it will be armed robbery to ease unemployment. Hey, for the first time, this my brother Haruna of PSG has sent me a message. Interesting to see Bernard Mona and Protocol on the same set. Could you please ask Protocol whether he's still in Chroma Est?
Protocol has moved on. I don't know why anybody will want to put him into this category. My brother.
Good morning, KOD. Some judge made a similar point Honorable Lady Hussein is making on another platform, and another community denied it. The tape was then played live, and it was clear. The president said it. Clear, feely. It was bound to happen. This one is from, so what? Okay. Those of you who are saying that you
Kwame, let me make sure.
you beat me. Oh no, with just a few messages.
Yes.
No.
Don't beat you. No. I disagree.
No, it's their human right.
No, I disagree. Nobody has a right to threaten another person.
But
Zan Jacob.
The man is defending human rights here.
Zan Jacob is. I'm a lawyer. I need to defend human rights. Zan Jacob says, who should give birth to the partners gays and lesbians should go after? Nonsensical thinking being supported by senseless KOD. Thank you.
That's too strong. You should have edited the word.
Well, if a minister has used it, it's okay to be, it's okay.
It's not the human right to inflict.
Al-Haji, citizens recruit, says LGBT is satanic and any president tolerating it is a Satan. If a man marries a man and a woman marries a woman, is it not the extermination of human race? We can't violate the new natural laws of God. How do you know what the natural laws of God is?
That man and woman should be the basis for procreation. And that's why the challenge was thrown. Put a man and a man together and put a woman and woman together for 100 years. And see whether they can
Evans Abayate. It is animal talk, such nonsense. Why don't you promote polygamy? Tijani Amingo says, I came too late, but if KOD really said that, I'm disappointed in him. Mr. Bernard, you are right. Keep up the good job. The same people who want to build a cathedral for God are opening institutions for Satan. Peter Ekong says, Kwame Owusu, so stop defending this evil thing. What is human right about this? Stop it, cry. Evans Abaite says, management of the station must dismiss KOD.
Hey, has you got into that? No.
Common sense must prevail. It means that challenging sense, man, I don't get so.
No, as for this morning,
they will call you before this.
Abinavi
asking what was in the coffee.
Abinavi Anane says, I love the man wearing the red beret. Keep on saying the truth. Juliana Belinda Obri says he is even dangerous more than Idi Amin.
Who is more dangerous than
Is it not me?
But looking at your head,
Prosper Dumum says, these are some of the problems we have as a country. This MPP guy is playing politics with this issue. He is scared of contempt from the party.
now he can be welcomed back to.
Good morning, champion. This government, okay, I think I read this message. Prosper comes back. He says, this is not about grammar. Just say what is necessary and stop this grammar thing. I think he's talking to you. JK says, this man power. Sex education is necessary and important than legalizing LGBT. Simple question. What is your position on the issue? You can't answer. Sex education is not the same as sex practices. This guy is just clueless. Irene Tete says, he's just going round and round. Wantashi says, the God you promised to build cathedral for is the same God you promised to legalize LGBT. Okay. And this guy calls himself a Muslim? MPP pa. Kodi, why those who engage in Galamsey, why should we arrest those who are engaged in Galamsey? I think it's their right, and moreover, some of them own lands. Abu Bakar Tajuddin says, these are the kind of Muslims who cause problems in Islam. Akufo-Addo and gayism, oh God, save us. Protocol, tell your president to divorce Madam Rebecca and marry you. You people. Kwame, stop this human rights talk. Use your thing, but use the other one.
Which thing?
Yeah, how much? KOD, you are in contempt. Hey! KOD, you are charged with contempt. Kwame, please stop supporting this evil here. Here in France, they don't even have an office. Why should they open an office in Ghana? Good morning, great job. My regards to Hawa Rambo Kumsen, our next minister for shooting. listen to the designation. Our next minister for shooting affairs. And he's watching us from Toronto, Canada. Nelson Dabuo says, let us as a society condemn what is barbaric and evil. Both the society and the holy books of Ghana frown on such act. Kwame, ask the MPP representative if his father had married a man.
Where will he be?
Would you have had the opportunity to sit there and talk those mathematics? Hey, Kwame, if you are continuing doing this, you will know more. Hey, somebody said you lose your credibility. Master, why? Stop these things.
When there is no devil, you don't play the advocate. You are trying to play an advocate for something that.
No, but to be fair, as for me, advancing the cause of human rights. As for me,
I hope you are watching.
I just indicated to you.
Kwame, I did my masters. I have a masters in human rights, and I'm telling you that I champion human rights anywhere, any day. The inviolable
Not an abnormality.
nature of human
Don't
rights.
you think that we should?
Everybody, so
When people are sick, they are
every
sick.
human being, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights,
Honorable, let's have.
say that by virtue of the fact that you are
Somebody
human, you are
is sick.
entitled to some inalienable rights.
How did you arrive at that conclusion?
Kwame,
What's my problem?
I accept that, and that is why I say nobody can either even impose order. But I say that society has lost norms and values.
Kwame,
Within which the law is
there are people who eat
Okay.
shit. Is it not their right to eat shit?
Yeah, don't you eat? What's wrong with that?
You said as you bow down
Don't
my
let
head
me
to
use
him.
the tree.
Yeah, he said that. Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for him. That even in citing the Professor Nana, that said he exhibited some ignorance, and let me cure that ignorance. Kwame, there's a difference between sex education and comprehensive sexuality education. I'm educating him if he doesn't know. What happened at Edison was promoting sex education in schools, not comprehensive sexuality education that the MPP brought. They are worlds apart. Wow. Worlds apart. So if he doesn't know, let him know that it could never have happened under the government of the NDC. Because Kwame, I'm sure you are aware as a matter of record
Alaji,
that President Mahama made it clear under no circumstance
but let
will
me
this
make
use behavior
and
be
maybe protocol will indulge me.
Okay.
Kwame.
Let me
I
promise I'll come to
just
you.
a small one. Okay, if we are doing comprehensive sex education and we teach people that it is unacceptable to engage in abnormal sex behavior, and some of the abnormal sex behavior is a man marrying a man, a woman marrying a woman, and having the affairs that you said I should not describe in the way I describe it. How is that to say that you are promoting it? Because by letting people understand, they will also understand the don'ts of the particular actions.
But in opening an office, is he promoting it? If you open an office, have you promoted anything?
You open the office to kill it.
You open an office.
You open an office to kill it.
To promote it.
To receive dignity.
To promote people. To promote ideas. To promote practices. To ensure that
I'm sure the messages you read should have
that would be the venue for gathering, meeting, and propagating your ideas. Why are you saying that? If you open an office, are you not promoting an act? It's abundantly clear. Kwame, there are some of those things, they are indefensible. Let's not.
No, they
Honorable, why is it that we
are not concerned?
Why is it that we are not concerned rather with the material conditions of the people as opposed to the preferences of the people? As opposed to the preferences of the
and council.
This is
bring them back to normal.
The material conditions of the people. I mean, employment, unemployment. Job losses.
Who says that aspect
lack of
the material conditions of the people?
How does it concern the material conditions? That's a preference. It's a preference.
If you come and convert my son from a normal person to a gay or other thing, you think that is not
the choice of your son to whether
I am indicating to you that for instance, if he's a teenager or even below the age of consensual dissing, where does that making up of the mind come in? That's why we say even before the person reaches a certain age where he can make up his mind. He's not even there yet. But even to teach it at our school and tell them that it's permissible for a man and a woman and woman to stay, man and man to stay, and that it's normal. Kwame, it's totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying that I advocate the human rights for everybody. There's freedom to associate, freedom to do those things. But I'm saying that it must be situated within law and a certain social.
Okay, I think your point has been my time is actually up.
Kwame,
my time is
up.
up.
Why I said is that you see, leadership is decisive in every society. You saw what happened in America when Trump said the election. You saw what happened in the society. There are people who believed in toto. So when a leader opens his mouth to speak, Kwame, a lot of people are going to listen to him. So what you say, that is why Kwame, I took my time and told you what happened, even under President Kufuor, and it was not partisan.
You see,
because President Kufuor
can I ask you a very honest, genuine question? Can I ask an honest, genuine question? Maybe better can also have
Kwame, that is why our people say that when you hear the howling of the hyena and your goat gets missing, you don't ask who caught it again. It's clear.
Can I ask you
so that's when you hear a leader speak and certain things begin to happen. You should know what is happening.
Can I ask you a genuine question?
Go ahead.
What has somebody's preference, right, got to do with what you think is right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I answer?
Why should that be your problem? What I choose to do.
I'm your kid, brother. Let me answer for you.
What I choose to do with my life.
Yes. Got to do
what preference?
Got to do with me. Let me tell you
why should I concern?
I know of a certain group this evening or this night. I'll let them come and do something in your house because it's their preference. And tomorrow morning, when you come on the show, you come and tell us that their preference has no effect on you. When in the middle of the night, they come and attack you. And it is their preference to come and rob you. You come here and come and sit down and tell people that their preference is
life. But I will stand up for the
your life is that the woman in the house is my
not two ways. I will stand up for the inalienable rights of people across the world.
Otherwise, they will teach you something this midnight.
That is what I'm saying, that human rights, like any other right, is circumscribed. It's not open-ended.
When the armed robbers come and hit you midnight, and it is their preference to come and do armed robbery, you come and tell people that, oh, they came and did their preference.
So to the extent that your enjoyment of your right does not infringe on the rights of others.
But has it infringed on the rights of others?
No, Alaji, don't worry. I said that I'll let the wife and the son move out of the house and then they'll come and teach you something this night.
If you grant the rights to sodomies who enjoy pleasure by seeing people being tortured, are you telling me that torturing other people is not an infringement of their fundamental human rights? Because we have a convention on torture, convention against torture. Cut. To be straightforward.
Anyway, I want to talk about
those things are not just even individual. It affects the whole morality an entire dispensation of
KOD, in fact, you are a disgrace to some of us. Thank you.
So Kwame,
KOD,
this is not a matter that we should contest.
your children are watching. This one also says, Kwame, in fact, this MPP rep you have there has to be impregnated
Kwame,
by...
You know what happened so far? Let me commend the...
Kwame, I am losing respect for you. I like this man.
No, I just want to say
Champion on TV, you are a host and not a lawyer.
I'm just saying that.
So, the opening of... oh, God.
People should just understand that as a host of the program, you put some other this and play a devil's advocate. I don't.
Where is the devil?
I don't believe that the devil is not here. That's why he's advocating for the devil.
Why?
But I don't believe that Kwame himself does not believe what he's saying. I don't think so. So people should not take it on him that
Kwame, you know, it is fair to commend the 2021 Appointments Committee for the solid job that they are doing. Okay? I think that so far, I can say so good. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, even if they qualify all the persons that have appeared before them. But they've been able to hold their own, to ask what I call relevant questions, to test the efficiency, efficacy, and activeness of the persons that have appeared before them. They have asked some probing questions, some just to trigger certain responses. And I think that this has made anyone appearing before the Appointments Committee to know that no, it is not just a sit-in and walk-away party. You must go through some rigorous vetting. There are some of the people that have appeared before the vetting committee, and they have made a mockery of themselves. And indeed, some of them, when they are confronted with facts, what they have decided to do is that we don't have the figures available, we don't have these documents available, we make it available. I would expect the Appointments Committee to hold their approval or otherwise until they make available those documents. And they are called upon to come and defend the particular pronouncements they made. You can't come and tell us you have created about 3 million jobs and then you don't have the breakdown of the jobs with only a promise to come and bring the documents. If you bring the documents, how are we able to assess it? Probably they should call them back to the chamber so that they'll be able to answer questions on them. Based on that, they can be given a slate or not. Some of the people's appearance at the Appointments Committee was just too arrogant, pompous. And we don't like pomposity in our governance style. So all these people should be cut to size so that we can have persons that will go to occupy offices that will serve as shining examples for our young people. Because if we see that pomposity and arrogance, irrespective of what you do, you can still be granted the opportunity to become a minister. You think that our society will become a very decent society. It will not. As for yesterday, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, owning a microfinance where he admitted that he owned that microfinance. He is an 82% shareholder of that microfinance.
You mean overall?
Yes.
Okay.
You are an 82% shareholder. That microfinance go to a bank to go and take a loan. And you, who is the majority shareholder, you are claiming that no, you don't know about that.
Because the company is a separate legal entity.
You say that you don't know about it.
Because the company is a separate legal entity. The company can enter into agreement on behalf of itself.
You understand? You refuse to get interested. You refuse. And his father, note, his father is the board chairman of the company. So at the end of the day, it's a family company.
Why are you running away from my point?
I've not run away. Why?
I'm saying
are you
that.
the one who decided to bring about the company's name?
The company is once the company is incorporated, it becomes a separate legal entity. It would have workers.
And the company has legs to move.
Yes, it works. It operates.
The company has left to move.
But the company takes decisions by itself. It can sue, can be sued.
And you think that when the company is sued, the shareholders are not affected? Me who provides the bulk of the money, the capital of the company. When the company is sued, now that the company is collapsed, who is responsible? Who is going to take the big damage?
Yeah.
Who is going to pay the liabilities? The assets that have been lost. who is going to suffer the damage.
Yeah.
So once you are a shareholder of a certain magnitude, your interest is also in the day-to-day running of the company.
In fact, if you're a shareholder, you are the owner of the business.
So that if the company is not being run well, you can't go and say that, no, the company is a separate entity from me. You would have been a moron.
So the point you're trying to establish is that even if the company is a separate legal entity, the shareholders own the business.
I'm saying that the shareholders provide the capital and everything.
Yeah, so
the other people that come in are only to assist the company to grow.
Absolutely.
And if they are not performing, you kick their ass.
Absolutely. But the shareholder, after the shareholders, they own
the company.
So they stay, yeah. Okay.
You understand? So the point I'm making that if Kojo Nkrumah decides that, look, this company that I have 82% share, that my father is the chairman, that the company goes to a bank, and no mean a bank than Unibank,
yes,
to go and take a loan, and that you are not interested in how they procure the loan, what are the terms involved in that loan, and that you have even defaulted in the loan to the extent that you don't know. You are an irresponsible person in your own house. How can you be a responsible person for the entire state?
So you're saying that on the basis of that,
I'm saying that if you cannot manage a certain, look, this is your own, and you have refused to take ownership of it. You have refused to be interested in it. And we give you an institution of state to manage. You become the greatest catastrophe that will happen. Because you have not even taken care of what you yourself has toiled for. Now we have decided to give you an institution, a portfolio that you should manage for us. Now, you see, why he was running away, in my view, is that Unibank has been collapsed by President Nana Akufo-Addo's government. Not so. And Unibank kept saying that, look, people who owe me, if they are allowed to pay, what you say we have not been able to meet, we will be able to meet our indebtedness. We will have solved all the liquidity problems that we have. Now, the Minister for Information, whose company also took a loan, defaulted in paying to Unibank. Now he is confronted with facts. So he says that, no, I don't even know that my company took a loan. And you don't know that your company even defaulted in the payment of the loan. That in itself should say that you are an irresponsible person.
Well, I think that and I think I agree with you, because in company law, the shareholders are supposed to give shareholders resolution.
Kwame,
for some
in the Muntie 3 case,
yes,
don't forget that they called on the directors and charged them.
And
the shareholders.
Okay, yeah.
You understand?
Because directors can't be shareholders.
They extended it. People who went on air just to make pronouncements.
No, because
they hold the owners. Kwame, they hold the owners and charge them. Because you must have interest in how even your radio or TV station operates, your media house operates, and the content that it puts out there. That is what the court says. But now we are talking about the financial institution.
Yeah.
Finally, to my lovely sister, Hawa Kumsin, my little daughter called me yesterday and said, Daddy, she says she was a teacher. Which people was she teaching? And you know, this is my little girl. Kwame, you know that girl.
Your girl can ask this question.
That which people was she teaching? And I'm like, hey, she didn't go there to go and do English test. They said by the ministry she's going to go, she'll be reading public documents. And the documents will not be written in Twi or in Gonja.
Somebody said that Alotejo Kos, the newly converted MPP spokesperson,
my namesake,
says that she's not going there to do English.
Yes, it's true.
You remember?
She's not going there to do English. But every document or contract that will come,
more than they believed.
No, every document or contract that will come, in spite of the fact that the technical persons will read and go through, you as the minister must also have an appreciation of it. Where I sit, you don't need to be somebody, an expert in a field, to be appointed a minister. We have seen people who have not even gone through cadet training and they are ministers of defense. Not so. They are ministers of interior. They have occupied several ministries where their expertise that don't rely. But it's obvious that those people decided to school themselves, at least to understand the rudiments.
All right.
If you go, you are going to do fisheries and you don't know what fish farming is. Really.
Okay.
You don't know the three main sectors
Thank you,
of
Bernard.
the sector.
I gave you.
And when they ask you the question, they say that they should repeat the question. Which question do they read? That what are the three main sectors of the fisheries industry? And you say they should repeat the question.
Thank you, Bernard.
They will repeat the answer.
I gave you this latitude because you are the tattoo of our political.
No, I've not spoken on this.
No.
This
Honorable has to speak.
No, you will be
I-
the one to wrap up. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I'm coming to you.
I've not
No,
spoken
let
on
him
this
speak.
matter.
You wrap
The
up.
way you were protesting that.
Speak.
No.
But you were saying protesting that I have spoken. I've not spoken.
I think that Honorable, in his attempt to address the issue that I made, I referred to. No, please.
No, let's go.
Oh, no.
There's no time.
Oh, I know there's no
My
time.
time is up.
Because after that one, I will come back.
Lord have mercy. So you see,
No, you are going.
then I'll give you
go
an
back.
opportunity to wrap up so that I'll finish.
That is his human right. Kwame, you are not defending his human
Okay,
rights.
so no problem.
My time is
I
actually
think
up.
that the minister designates have actually, discharged themselves very well at the vetting process. I think that people who want to play or to create mischief in respect of,
Can you give
in
him
respect
water?
of Howard Kumson's issue, I think that for me is just an issue that people always, are just trying to create a situation which is just unnecessary. Which questions didn't she, make an attempt to answer? Is it that we now trying to measure people's competence based on, how eloquent they can speak the English language, the Queen's language? Is it that we measure people's intelligence because they are able to demonstrate a very impeccable English language? For me, it is red herring to start with. When my boss was making an allusion to his daughter having the occasion to come and question him whether or not the lady said she was a teacher and which particular people was she teaching. I think that it is just below the belt. I think we don't try to ridicule.
It is below the
people.
belt for a child to ask
I really don't
ask her
want
father
to
a question in relation to how
it's just
a minister doesn't perform.
I believe that it is just
my
a
brother.
creation of my boss's mind in terms of this particular issue that he mentioned.
Would you?
Are you suggesting for a moment that
Oh, please.
he was lying? No, you
Please,
can't say
please,
that.
Okay,
please,
go
please.
on.
Unless you provide the evidence.
Go on,
Allow
go
me.
on,
I
go
beg
on.
you. Allow me. So I think that at the end of the day,
no.
at the end of the day,
Kwame, that you should allow
they have
me to abuse
dispensed.
my rights.
They've been able to, dispense themselves very well in the vetting, and I trust that the good people of Ghana have actually seen what they can do, and I believe that when Parliament finally gives them the nod, they would be able to demonstrate their competence in the various ministries that they are going to man. Thank you.
Okay.
Honorable.
Thank you for allowing him to abuse
Yeah,
my rights.
Kwame, the Gumbes have a saying, and to say it in Dagbana, Besula Mariam, Bridger of Panjoyala. Even Mariam is owned, let alone her basket of property. So, without any iota of doubt, what Bernard was saying, I honestly, until many days, Kojo Upon Kruma is my very good friend in Parliament. Very, very good friend. And we gel. I didn't know until then that he even owned the micro.
Oval microfinance.
Yes, I didn't know. In fact, now that I know that he's very well grounded, he should respect me. Kwame, I think that for me, it's a mixture. There are some nominees who have come and they've excelled. They've done very well. Let us not lump all of them into a basket and condemn or say that there are some who have done very well. But there are some, Kwame, they are so shambolic, for want of a better term. They have demonstrated crass incompetence and inability to even answer basic questions relating to the ministries that they wear and the ministries to which they are going. Kwame, if you are searching for what they gave you yesterday and you are proving incompetent, incapable of handling the office, why should we give you a new one? And so for me, the good thing about the current vetting, and let me commend the current members of the vetting committee, especially those on the side of the NDC. They've done very, very well so far. And this is one of the best vettings that we've had. I agree with Comrade Ben Amona. Kwame, what does that does a very impose a very positive image on Parliament, on Parliament's role and oversight over the executive. This has been what the constitution makers and the framers of our constitution wanted to do when they gave that responsibility to Parliament, to act as a check, as part of the checks and balances system on the executive and hold the feet of the executive to the fire of accountability. That is what this current Parliament is doing, and precisely because of the mandate conferred by the good people of this country on the NDC in the last elections. And I think that it is a very good thing. Kwame, some ministers, I can say as a member of Parliament, must not pass. Some will not pass, and some must not pass. And there are very serious hanging questions on some. Previously, a number of things were said about some other ministers, about their arrogance and others. I remember people before that, people said things about the former education minister, Napo, about Ursula and others. But when they appeared before the committee, frankly, they demonstrated some significant degrees of humility. People were asking that, oh, is that Ursula? Or is that... and even to the point that Kwame, wherever they had made statements that were found to be unparliamentary or uncomplimentary and could not substantiate it, they had the humility to retract and apologize. And so, Kwame, that is the way forward. But Kwame, look at others. I was one there, as for somebody who is dead in the market, you don't need to announce her demise. As for her, I'm sure she's dead in the market. We don't need to. But Kwame, I was surprised. Look at somebody like Koku Ajumamenu.
Yeah.
Health. Kwame, you come and they say they are charging $150 at the airport. And the Minister for Health says he knows nothing about the contract. And the contract was awarded by who? Who are they sacking in the evening is getting good night? Kwame, he doesn't know anything about the contract. In fact, 5 ministers, National Security Minister, Gender Minister, Attorney General nominee, who? Health. Kwame, Foreign Affairs. Kwame, all of them, they didn't know anything about this. Meanwhile, a contract has been awarded, $150, where other nations are charging $15 and $20. Ghana is charging $150. They are freezing the people of this country and those entering this country. And the circumstances of that contract, Kwame, nobody can cite the contract document given to this company. Even Parliament, Kwame, Parliament which is seized. And I'm saying that not until we see the contract and questions, circumstances at the which the contract was awarded, who awarded the contract, what are the value for money assessment, what is the due diligence, Kwame, many questions until we see this. Those of us on the floor, Kwame, we shall demand answers to this before we make any approval.
Honorable, thank you.
If they don't come, Kwame.
Honorable, thank you. My time is...
Minister for Defense, military people invade Parliament. That was a coup in Parliament.
Yeah.
You tell us that it is
You mean the one
a colonel who took that
you were
decision.
fighting them?
Yes, a colonel who took that decision to invade the district. And so it was not from any of you. And that person is working scot-free. Nothing has happened to him. So if he did it illegally, he is above the law and nobody can take action. And you expect to come and tell this to parliamentarians. This cock and bull story. This was the same man who went and bent tipper trucks, gave authority to people in the northern region, and they went and bent the tipper trucks, hard-earned listen of people in the northern region, your own brothers and sisters, who tried to get more money to buy tipper trucks. You went and bent them and said that anybody who wants to fight can come. You are the Minister for Defense. You are Oga. Because you preside over soldiers, let anybody come. You let soldiers beat them into pulp. Kwame, these people like this, this is the day of accountability.
All right, Honorable,
Kwame,
thank you.
They'll be held to answer.
Thank you, Honorable.
And so I think that all those other people who have questions to answer,
Okay,
Kwame,
thank you.
they will not be allowed to get, this is the time to hold them to
Thank
account.
you. Thank you very, very much.
And I'm telling you that we will hold them on the floor.
Thank you. Val Osman says, good morning to you, KOD. My Honorable ABA and Bernard. KOD, as you can see, I didn't add champion. is because you have made my day, you have made me very ashamed of you for your indecent, abominable, reprehensible, devilish position this morning, all in the name of human rights. Whose human rights are we talking about here? Do you call those, have you ever seen a male and animal making dear job in Taifa? I've seen your message. No problem. Human rights.
They know where to go.
Human rights is about doing the right thing in the community. LGBT is not human rights issue. It's human madness. Hey, Dr. Lugutara Austin. Doc, I think, anyway, let me keep quiet. When should I come to your station and receive it on air to confirm your repentance? Hey.
They're waiting for repentance. Oh, Kwame, say it now. You have not done any U-turn, so you don't need to repent. You are only asking questions.
To seek for high position in the land, you need to master the English language. It's a matter of course. Esla in mind, not aware of anything. Mr. Kwame, God is my Baba Danso. Please do not defend this act. Well, these are your positions, and I believe that everybody is entitled to theirs. Honorable.
Yes, Kwame.
Chidi, Nanaya's birthday. Male. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you.
I used to have a friend.
No, thank you.
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
I used to have a
Protocol. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, but let me send let me send a word of condolences to the Dombo family.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I received a very disturbing news that the CEO of the Ghana Railway Authority, Richard Dombo, passed on. And as is the norm of the period, any death that occasions like this, they attribute it to COVID-19 complications. The Dombo family, I went to school, secondary school with some of them. I know this is a very difficult moment for them. And also to the family of Dr. Garba Kora. Yesterday, we also heard that he passed on in the United States of America. And these are families that I'm very close to. That said, let me say that human rights, yes, but when there is abnormality, no.
Thank you, Bernard.
Kwame, let me also take this opportunity. I think Pan-Africa should be invited. There's this incredible levels of thievery that you can't believe that even now is documented, where a CEO of Development Authority
Northern Development
wrote letters. Is there? We are holding a press conference on the matter today. Yeah, so you come and hear very bizarre things where people can now put it on paper.
No, I mean,
direct. I say it's on paper.
No.
I'm telling you, we have the paper.
It's a fabrication.
It's not a fabrication. We have the paper.
You know, protocol works with the Northern
We have the
Development
paper.
Authority.
He's defending. You see where he's coming from.
Anyway, thank you. I'll see you guys on Monday. Alaji and Alaji will be on Saturday. It's been honorable. Where are you going? We're not. No. It's been an absolute pleasure serving you this morning.
It's one of the things that was put to Hawa. This one.
I'll see you guys on Monday. My name is Kwame Owusu, so thank you very much. Do have a very wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Bye bye.
But to see that the average, the 7-day moving average, because of the way our testing is done, the moving average gives us a more accurate results. You can see that it's rising, but we seem to be tapering at a point, and we hope that with adherence to protocol, we start seeing further decline. This just to show us the epic curves that we've had. You can see that the curves seem to have, I don't want to use a word that people don't want to hear, it seems to have plateaued, and we are hoping that with the adherence to the protocols, the curve will start coming down, as we saw in the very first one. And I think that depends on what we do. You can see that our active cases rose to the highest point we've never reached before, over 8,000. But in the last week or two, that adherence to protocol, the use of masks increased. You have seen a plateauing and now a decline. If we continue, we can see further decline. Today we are reporting a decline in our active cases. But if we continue, we're going to have the same decline go down. But as it is, it's still at a very high point. We never